Hello, welcome to another weekly update. Day 3 of being dressed by Clothes Pilot. If you don't know what that means, go check my LinkedIn. I will have some blogs and videos about that. Hopefully the first one coming this week. All right, it's a bumper crop this week, so I'm going to get straight into it and not waste any time. So the first thing is a blog post I did in the week. Microsoft is making it easier for developers of bots to add things like built-in generated with AI labels, citations, feedback and sensitivity. So I talked about this once before back in April last year because Microsoft updated the guidance, the validation guidance to say if you're going to use AI, you need to make it really clear to users. You need to have them have a way of feeding back information as well. And so at the time I said it would be really good if Microsoft could build that in to make it look like the way Copilot does it, which also has these things. Spoiler, they've done it. They've made it nice and easy, actually. They've extended the existing stuff that's there for Bot Framework. It's a really nicely done, I think, extension. It's really good. I think you should use it. So not going to spend any more time on that other than say that's a really good thing. Congrats to the team. I think that's worthwhile addition, definitely. All right. Other things, Declarative Agent Copilots now support APIs that are secured with keys that can be passed in query params or headers, not just bearer auth tokens, which it has been up until now. So this is you writing declarative agents that call other APIs, and where those other APIs are secured with some sort of key. Previous to this announcement, you've needed to only use bearer tokens. So even if your API didn't support it, you have to figure out a way of making your API support it, either by implementing it or by using something like API management tool in Azure that lets you do this. You can do that quite easily. I've got in my blog post about it, actually. I showed you how you could do it because I was doing it up until this point. But what's nice is that now the declarative agent code can now support using either a different header value or a query parameter. Query parameters really useful because that's what Azure Function uses, and I use Azure Functions a lot in lieu of like an API platform because I think they're really, really good. I think they work really well as API, like serverless API endpoints that are stateless. I think they work really, really well for that. Yeah, I'm really pleased to see this. I've already switched over to using that. It works great. Very happy with it. So really, really pleased to see that in there. Okay, I missed this one last week. There's a bootcamp for GitHub Copilot. Now, often with these bootcamps, I kind of tell you about them, and I want to tell you about them because if you're just coming into this space, a bootcamp can be really useful. But I know a lot of the people who listen and watch this are very good at what they do. They're kind of experts in the field. And so actually, a lot of the time, I kind of know that like you'll hear the stuff about the bootcamp and you'll be like, that's not for me. This one, maybe, I don't know. It depends how much you use GitHub or GitHub Copilot. This is a bootcamp all around GitHub Copilot. And I am going to go and attend this bootcamp because, yes, I use GitHub Copilot, but I also feel like I could use it a lot more. And I'm not sure I'm using all of the things in it. So this is cool. So there's a whole bootcamp, whole set of things. It's a whole schedule. It's online only. It's free. It covers things like prompt engineering. It covers building an AI web application with Python and Flask. So it's not like super low code stuff necessarily, it's like all the things. Productivity with GitHub Copilot docs and unit tests. That's interesting, as is collaboration and deploying with actions. Some of that stuff I kind of know, but I feel like it's one of those things I should go through a bootcamp because is the way I'm doing it the right way and the best way? So super excited. I'm going to try and make time to go to that for sure. All right, let's go. We're about halfway. Yeah, we're about halfway through the recording. We're about halfway through the list. So that's pretty good. All right. Exciting news apparently comes from the folks looking after MS Teams. Well, it's MS Teams docs. So this is an interesting place. So the next two announcements have come from GitHub pages or GitHub discussions, and they're discussions on the Microsoft Teams docs GitHub repository, which is not naturally a place I would go for news, and I'm lucky I saw it. So this one, 10 brand new adaptive card features in Microsoft Teams. This is quite a big deal actually for people writing Microsoft Teams apps that use adaptive cards. there's a lot more support now for some stuff in adaptive cards. Now, if you've done a lot of development with adaptive cards in Microsoft Teams, you might be saying about time too. And I kind of agree with you. So I'm not sure these are brand new and amazing, but it's really good that they're here. Let's just agree on that. So yeah, there's some cool things in here. I think this brings the support for adaptive cards in Teams up a bit. I'm not quite sure it's completely on the level with other platforms, but it is good that it's here. There's some interesting, cool things in here as well that you might be able to use. Some cool visualizations, some star rating stuff, better support container layouts, better support for responsive layouts, scrollable containers, and there's a bunch of other things in here. I'm not going to read them all out, but go check this out if you do anything with adaptive cards in Teams, because this has been kind of a hidden announcement. Also, again, same place, Teams docs, and I don't know if this is repeated anywhere else, so I kind of don't want to cast too much shade because it might be in a message center item somewhere, but I'm not sure. The experience for users installing Teams apps is changing, and it is talked about in here. So they're saying, yep, we're enhancing the user experience for Teams apps that are installed from Teams Store or via custom upload. And there's a link to a doc to give all the details. So the link is to a Microsoft Learn page, and that kind of doesn't tell you what's new and what's different. It just tells you the current state of things. So you kind of need to read through this to understand what is different and what's changed. I think it's good if it's being improved. That's a good thing. I worry about all the training, the tickets that might get raised, the experience, anyone who's kind of relying on it how it was that doesn't know that it's about to change. I'm not sure that putting it in like a document discussion, like a discussion area of a Teams docs GitHub repository is going to reach the most people. I feel like this should have been a blog post, but wasn't for whatever reason. So just so you know, if you are a developer or you kind of work with developers, or in fact, if you're a developer that works with IT people that are responsible for doing training and rollout of things, and the way in which your app gets installed is really important, and you have like training documentation for how users install apps, maybe go check this out because it might have changed and you might not know about it. Nice. Okay. So the last thing, and I've got a couple of minutes on this, which is nice, is an open letter, which you may have seen from Satya Nadella to Microsoft employees, which they also published as a blog post, introducing CoreAI platforms and tools, which is a new team inside Microsoft, or a new division inside Microsoft, focused very much on what happens next in AI within Microsoft. It's going to be interesting. I think this is Microsoft doubling down, or at least refocusing, or continuing the momentum, or whatever you want to call it. I think, this email it's worth a read, if for nothing else. Like, this is an email sent from Satya to all of his staff. If you play in this space at all, regardless of what you think, like, this email is worth your time to read it, just so you know what's being said and the messaging that Satya is sending to his staff and to the wider world as well. It's a conscious choice for Microsoft to publish this letter. So like, that means that they want you to read it. They're trying to kind of telegraph what's happening. So yeah, they're bringing together a couple of different teams. So it's more of a kind of internal reorg, really. There's a new EVP of CoreAI. So Jay Parikh. So like, the whole bunch of people then reporting to him. So I think that's kind of interesting. I'm always a bit conflicted about this, because I think it's good to have like a team focused on AI, but also AI is a bit like, salt. It should be in all the things. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, go read that email. I don't want to say too much about it, but go read it and have your own thoughts on it, because I think it's important. All right, enough from me. Gonna stop talking. Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. I'll speak to you next time.